Hi everyone, my name is Marko from Sizeware, and today I'm going to be talking about how you can update your well data in Sizeware using an online mapping platform called Petro Ninja. Now, for those of you who don't know, Petro Ninja is an online well data platform that supplies well data for Western Canada, and I believe they have a couple other areas included as well. And typically their platform is free. You just need to sign up for an account and you can access a couple wells at a time, take a look at the data for those. But for the time being, they have opened up their professional platform to anyone who signs up for a trial period to allow them to export large numbers of wells, so basically as many wells as you want, and export the data for them. And that's what I'm going to be showing off and how that interacts with Sizeware. So we can export our well data, the well header data, and we can include formation tops, directional surveys, and production data out of Petro Ninja. And then we can bring that into Sizeware. And most of this is done using just simple CSV files. So when we bring it into Sizeware, I've got a number of format files to just speed up the process. Petro Ninja has their files pretty nicely laid out for import. We can also create a well list based on those wells in a Sizeware project. So we can take it from the Sizeware project, bring it into Petro Ninja. We can also bring in a contour layer from Petro Ninja, but this feature is a little more experimental and is not broadly available in the platform. But the other thing we can do is open up a Petro Ninja well file directly from our Sizeware base map using a feature called Addins. So now I'm going to head over into my Sizeware project. Got it open here, just going to bring over the base map. And in my project, I've got a number of wells set up to the north here, and I've got this polygon down below to the south that I want to bring in wells for. So coming over into Petro Ninja, this is what the map generally looks like. And I've brought in that polygon as a file called a GeoJSON file. And I can see what that polygon looks like on my Petro Ninja map. Now, once again, this is the more experimental feature. I already have that well list added into my project. And I'm not going to go really into detail on how to do this in Petro Ninja, but here I can select basically that well list or that area of wells using a polygon if I wanted to grab some other data. But coming back to the list I already created, I can select Edit, and then I can grab each of the data types that I want to export. So first I'm going to export the well details. Then I'm going to grab the production data. And that's downloaded. And then I can grab the directional surveys. And then finally, I'll grab the formation tops. And so each of these steps is just, once I have my well list, select export, and I get to download that CSV file into basically a consistent folder that I have set up with my web browser. So now I can come over to well import, and if I have my Windows Explorer window open on the left-hand side here, I can just drag and drop each of those CSV files into my well import. Now I'm only doing each one at a time, just because in Sizeware we can't export all the different types at once. But I can come into define columns, and I've got my columns laid out here. They're pretty well formatted. I could go in and define them one at a time. So I could select UWI there. But to save time, I've built a bunch of format files, and I'll send these out with the recorded version of the video once I'm done here. But I've got my format file. I'm grabbing all my general well data that we take in Sizeware. And so now that that's set up, there's not a ton more that I'm going to have to do in the well import. I do need to have a coordinate system set up though, just because the data coming out of Petro Ninja is in lat long. But then once I'm done, hit next, and that data imports. Next, I can move over to my directional surveys, and I'll load in that format file once again. So UWI, MD, inclination, and azimuth. And I need to make sure it's set as true north when that's coming in rather than grid north. And so there I've got my directional surveys in on my map. Now I can come back into here and bring in my formation tops. So I can select that data. And just as a note, make sure these are coming in as TVD. And the formation tops file, once again, really easily laid out, just UWI, formation top depth, and the formation name. Just those three columns need to be defined. And I could put in a source if I wanted, but in this case, I'll just bring in those files. And then finally, I'll bring in the production data. So in this instance, I'm bringing in monthly production. I've got the format file already laid out, just like for everything else. And so a couple of the crucial things I need to bring in here, for those that you don't know, we've recently added this to Sizeware, but I've got my UWI, and I've got a monthly production date. I've got production volumes monthly for each of the data types. And then the last thing, I also need a formation, the producing formation that was brought in with. I'm going to automatically calculate the cumulative production from here, and then I'll just bring in that data. And that import is just going to run. And then we can take a look in well properties once that data is in here. Grab a well so we can see I've got my production volumes in there. Now I've got a number of wells up to the north here that don't have directional surveys. What if I want to update them with data from Petro Ninja? So the easiest way to do that is I can export that list of wells, and so I can head over to well export, and I'm just going to do a columnar ASCII file, and all I'm going to export is general well data and just the UWI. So come over here, select them from the map, here's my selected data, and only UWI. That's all I'm going to need right now, and send that to an export file. Now once that's been exported, I can open up that file in Microsoft Excel. And then what I'll do is just copy paste, or copy for now, grab the whole list of UWIs, come over to Petro Ninja, create a new well list, and I can just paste those UWIs in at the bottom. We'll just give this a name. Could give it a color if I wanted, and then paste that in at the bottom. Then I can select create. And now my well list has been brought into here. So now that I've got that well list in Petro Ninja, it's really straightforward for me to just select edit, export directionals. I download that new file, and then in the Sizeware well import, I can just go ahead, select that directional file, and use the format file that I had used earlier. Or I could go ahead and define the columns again, but either way, pretty straightforward. Now that that's brought in, I can take a look at my map, and my wells should update with all those directional surveys. Now, with my area down to the south, if I wanted to take a look at, say, the Montney, take a look at all the well tops in that area. Let me just resort this by name. So I've got my well ribbons. I can just use quick grid and contour to quickly grid that up and contour it. And what I've done is exported this contour as a shapefile, converted it over to that GeoJSON format, and brought it into Petro Ninja. Now it's, like I said, not a fully available feature yet, but it's part of what we're working on with the integration with Petro Ninja going forward. But if we just take a look over here in our list and take a look at the layers. And we've got the sizeware contour already in here. Now, one of the really big advantages of this is if I've got other people on my team using Petro Ninja, they can just open this up in a web browser on their phone or on their computer, and they're not going to have to go into sizeware, which is probably a little more convenient if not everyone has a license. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the ability to use add-ins from sizeware to pull up a well ticket in Petro Ninja. Now, we've got our well data in sizeware, but we don't have every single data type and we don't have all of the logged information on a given well. So if I want, I can select a well, and here, I can take a look at it in well properties. There's my header information, there's my tops, whatever other information I have that I've imported that we support in our database. But Petro Ninja kind of has some more information that I might want to take a look at. So I can come down to add-ins, and these aren't used all the time, but add-ins are available for a bunch of different well data. You can use it for some seismic stuff too. It's a little more limited, but for well data, you can output certain data types straight to Excel. You can even open up a well location on Google Maps if you really want. But the one I'm going to talk about is bringing up a well from Petro Ninja. Now, I customized this myself, and I'll upload the config file along with the format files once I upload this video. But basically, all you need to do is right-click on the well, select well location to Petro Ninja, and here I bring up the well details tab, and I can take a look at the different details on that well. It centers it on the map. There's potentially some more information than what I have in sizeware, and I could just do that for any given well in Petro Ninja. And so that's about it, all I have to talk about today. If anyone has any questions, got the wrong presentation screen up here, but yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask me. And that's all for now.
Yeah, I'll just add a couple of notes and answer those questions there. So, we source all of our data from each provincial government. So in Alberta, the AER, and Petronex, and BC, the OGC, Saskatchewan, their provincial government, and then the states, each state. That is kind of kept as up to date as those provinces are. So we do daily updates for each data set that has a daily update. And then production and some of the key well data is usually just updated monthly when the governments release it. One of the other things that Marko may not, I'm not sure if you mentioned, like what we kind of covered today was a manual way of exporting data from Petro Ninja. What I think sizeware and we would like to do is to build a direct data connection. So that's something that we've talked about, where you wouldn't have to actually go into Petro Ninja, export data, load that data. It would be more of a live connection with data being pulled from Petro Ninja as you pan around the map. So that's kind of a little taste of what could happen in the future, as well as that ability for you to take your interpretation and post that to your Petro Ninja map, where you might have team members, colleagues who'd like to see some of that interpretation data. And then finally, in terms of pricing, like right now for the next couple of months, it's free on the professional version. So if you go to petroninja.com and sign up for a free account, or even just email us, you'll basically get sent to a page where you can upgrade your account for free. Just because of how bad the economic situation is right now in town, we're not looking to charge people, and we're happy to kind of set up web meetings. We have webinars ourselves to go through some of the basics like creating well lists and some of the other detailed data we have within the application. A single seat is usually $350 a month per user, and that works out to approximately $4,000 a year per user.